Hey family, this is Paula G, and this is Fit at 60 and Beyond, where you don't have to be 60 or beyond, but we do challenge you to be fit. And I wanted to come before you today and just share a few thoughts. It's been about a week since the death of George Floyd, and those of you who may be viewing this during this particular time frame, our country is so broken and hurting. Those of you who may be viewing this sometime later, sometime in the future, praise God, we made it through. Learn the lessons from this journey so we do not repeat this moment in history. What has brought us to this moment in history? First of all, I don't have all the answers. I'm going to tell you all that right now. I don't have all the answers, but I want to bring my perspective to the table. And as I said before, it took me a moment to really gather my thoughts, and I'm still gathering my thoughts. You know, I'm one that I like to think things through. I like to research. I like to listen, observe, gather information before I speak, because I'm a strong believer in words have power, and we have seen that. My Lord, we have seen that words have power. We have to be careful about the words that we speak. We have to be careful about the things that we do and our actions. But sometimes that's difficult. That's difficult. We see all of the protests, the passionate protesting. And let me hit the pause button there for a moment. No one, I believe, any decent person, no one condemns violence, looting, burning, destruction of property, destruction of life. No one condones that at all. However, we do understand the rage, but the rage is on different levels. The rage is on different levels. There's so many people that are coming to this intersection in time with different experiences, echoes from their past that has brought them to this point of emotional overload. We've seen some of the footage on television where we have black men that are just so enraged. They're talking to the reporters, and they're not really talking. They're yelling at the reporters. They're trying to get everyone to listen, to understand what their plight is. They have been hurt, oppressed, beaten, abused for so many years. The list could go on. Yet and still they're expected to go through their daily lives, and they're expected to assimilate into society and just do what it is that they do, or be what it is that they need to be. And it is frustrating because their voice has not been heard over the generations. Again, echoes of your past. You have generations of people of color coming to this table at this particular moment in time with their variety of experiences, whether it happened to them directly or whether it happened to a family member and they witnessed it. I'll give you a personal example. I can recall experiences with my father and hearing about experiences with my father as a young man. My father was born in 1917. He's been gone now for, almost 8 years, I believe. And hearing stories about him as a child. Now, he's born in 1917 in the South. Experiences of him as a child experiencing racism and harassment, not only as a child, but seeing it against other family members. Think of how that resonates as a child, and then as growing up as a man himself and experiencing those things. Think of how those things resonate. My father obtained an engineering degree, a master's degree in the late 30s. He was an electrical engineer. He was not recognized as an electrical engineer to some 15, 20 years later, something to that effect, because of the color of his skin. There were other engineers along that time as well who were not recognized as engineers, had gone to school, had gotten the education, were qualified black engineers, yet did not get the opportunity. And eventually they had to do something to support their families. So rather than be employed in the jobs of engineering that would have more than supplied them with the finances that they needed to raise their families, own their own homes, send their children to college, they had to find other jobs, other menial jobs. Some of them, like my father, did go on to be engineers, but others did not have that opportunity. So their lives, whereas they started off at the same place, graduating from college with a master's degree in engineer, their lives took drastic turns for a variety of reasons. My father was one of the fortunate few that was able to go on and have a career in engineering, but it came at a cost. It came at a cost. An experience of him having to take the train down to North Carolina from Philadelphia to retrieve the body of his brother who had been murdered, and having to bring that body back to the family to be buried, but having to ride in the same car with that body because African Americans were not allowed to ride in the cars with the Caucasians at the time. Just imagine that, riding in a train with the body of your brother in a coffin. And, at that particular time, there weren't all of these things that the funeral homes do to preserve the body. That has to do something to you psychologically, along with all of the other childhood experiences. And now you're fighting for your education. You're fighting for a job for you to support your family. You're going on job interviews. You're told that there are no openings, and as you walk out, you turn around and you see your application being thrown in the trash simply because you're African American, not because you're not qualified. Echoes of the past. Echoes. And then later in years, he of course had family, and I could always sense a degree of I don't know if I want to call it darkness, but shadows, in my father. He was a gracious man. He was a gentleman. He was a hard worker. He pressed us. Education was so important. But I could kind of see in him the echoes of his past. And even as a child, myself and my siblings kind of absorbing some of that hurt, some of that pain, some of the depression, some of those emotions, and just witnessing that sadness, experiences myself as a spouse, and seeing my husband at the time in uniform, being stopped for really at the time, really no reason, coming from the military base in full uniform, an officer. And I still, remember those things. That incident happened over 20 years ago. The incidences with my father, recalling some of those incidents and hearing about them in my childhood. And also in my childhood, experiences of seeing my father discriminated against, or being disrespected, or spoken to in a disrespectful way, or being called the N-word. So all of these things, all of these echoes from our past, just they resonate in us. We carry them around because really there's no place to put them. No one wants to hear about it because you're whining. Slavery was years ago. You've got freedom. You're free now with integration. It's all right, but it's not all right. It's not all right. So you have millions of people that are coming to the table with these emotions, these echoes from the past. You have others that are coming to the table with other agendas, other experiences that are bringing them to this point in time. I keep saying table, but bringing them to this point in time where they're also arriving with anger for a variety of reasons. It could be their personal experiences that have brought them to this point. Maybe they've had bad experiences as well on different levels, and I certainly can't speak to that or make that assumption. I can only speak to my experiences, but I hope you all are understanding what I'm saying, that we are at an intersection of emotion based on the echoes of our respective pasts, those echoes that were triggered by this incident with Mr. George Floyd. And if any of his family members are watching this, my heart hurts. My heart hurts. And all I can say is, without sounding redundant, and I know you probably heard it a lot, but just prayers for your strength to wake up every day and navigate through each day to get to some point of peace at some time. Strength on your journey, strength for your journey, and that out of this something will come that will honor the life of your beloved George. So I pray that for you. I pray that for you. The rest of us, it's hard to really compress this whole situation into one sitting or one conversation, because we've heard about the system, systemic racism, all of these different things. It is systemic. You can't put your finger on it. It's not just one thing that has occurred, or it's not just one person who's responsible. It's a culmination of truly over 400 years of oppression, and oppression on different levels. We're talking from the standpoint of the African American race. Oppression on different levels, from slavery to lynching to the Jim Crow laws to the welfare system to the prisons. It's just levels of oppression that have changed over time based on where we are and what season of time that we're in. So that is one of the reasons. There's a multitude. Like I said, it's not an easy answer. It's so complex. But that's part of why we're seeing such the anger, and we're seeing the rage. We're not condoning looting, killing, burning. We're not condoning any of that, because there are also those that have come to the table with agendas that have nothing to do with this cause. And that is sad, because it's in some instances people are not able to discern the difference between the two. And I'm grateful, because I'm seeing with the news, and also with some law enforcement and with some government officials, that they are able to distinguish. They are seeing that there is a population nationwide that is truly concerned about change, that are protesting peacefully for change, to bring us together, to heal this country. That's going to take time. We're in a microwave society. We're used to things happening, instantly. This is not an instant fix. It will take time. We are going to have to develop some patience. So it is good to see that there are a population of people from media, the government, and so forth, that do recognize the peaceful protesters, those who truly want to see change and truly want us to see us united for the better, so that we can move forward and heal this nation. They recognize that. They also recognize there's an element that has nothing to do with that. Whatever their agenda is, it is not conducive to healing. The problem is they're beginning to kind of mix in and infiltrate, and it is adding to an already volatile problem, volatile circumstance. So my message to you today is, seek knowledge, seek wisdom, seek understanding. Have an open mind. If there's an area that I don't understand, why all these people are upset, why they're angry, why these black men are upset, or these, people are out protesting and I don't understand. Try to have an open mind and learn about the history of what has brought us to this point. those who may be saying, I don't understand why they don't understand. I don't understand why, they don't see the problem or they don't understand the problem. Again, an open mind to see that all of us have a journey through life, and where some of us may feel or some of us may think that certain things should be obvious, everybody should know, that's not always the case. That it just isn't. That is not always the case. So that's why dialogue is so important. Everyone coming to the table with an open mind is so important. And it's such a beautiful thing that I believe that I've seen all people of all walks of life that are out there united, coming together. We want change. We want to heal this country. Black, white, brown people of all different colors and nationality. That is such a beautiful thing. That gives us hope that people are now beginning to see each other's viewpoint, understand, have sympathy, have compassion. Wow, I'm beginning to understand why you're coming to the table so angry and so upset. Or, wow, yeah, I understand why you're not aware of what my journey may have been. We're coming to the table, we're communicating. And prayerfully, at some point in all of this, those who have come to the table with a negative agenda, those in leadership who are misusing the power of their words, that somehow they will be diminished, and their voices will be diminished, and that the voices of those who are coming together for positive change, the voices of those who are coming together to heal this nation, will dominate, so that we can come together, heal this nation, move forward together as truly the United States of America. Now, I know this Fit at 60 and Beyond is a little bit different than some of the others in the past, but as I say, you don't have to be 60 or beyond, but we challenge you to be fit. And I always say holistically, mind, body, soul, and spirit. So it's not always the well, let's talk about exercise, or let's talk about diet, or let's talk about your dreams and your visions moving forward. Absolutely. There's a time and a place for that. But there's also a time and a place where we have to address the pink elephant in the room. We have to pause and address the pink elephant in the room, because that is also part of being healthy, mind, body, soul, and spirit. We cannot move forward in life until we have healed. Our African American men, our African American people that are coming to the table so hurt, so wounded, so angry, so anxious, so stressed, so depressed, all of these things. It's a result of all of these wounds from the past, not having the opportunity to heal properly. So perhaps this is an opportunity for those wounds that have now been reopened. Perhaps this is an opportunity for proper healing to occur. It's going to be a journey for proper healing to occur, that there be understanding and compassion from those who may not have had that journey, whoever that is, that may have not have had that journey, that can help that healing, and that we can come together in communication and conversation and love and open mind and work together. And again, I think it's such a beautiful thing to see so many races coming together, joining hand in hand, coming together, even law enforcement, some that are coming together as well. And I have to say that we have to pray for our law enforcement. Not all police officers are bad. I know. I had my own experiences. I know there is an element that do not need to be in that position, but you also have good officers. You also have good police firemen. I would not be sitting here today if it were not for the policemen and the firemen and paramedics pulling me from a crushed car. I would not be here today if it wasn't for the policemen coming into my home and making sure my home was safe after we thought someone had broken into the home. There's good and bad on all sides. We can't collectively say all policemen are bad. Just like we can't say all white people are bad or all black people are bad. There's bad in every segment, whether it's a culture or a profession. Because a lot of times bad comes down to the individual and their heart. We can't change. We can change laws all day long, but we can't change the heart. So the heart of someone that looks like you may be different than your heart. The heart of someone in uniform may be different from the officer who he's standing next to. And I'm not making excuses for anyone. I'm just trying to have a conversation and to help you all, well, kind of dialogue because I'm talking, but to help those who may not understand an opposing side, to give them some degree of understanding as well. At least, those that are willing. And like I said, there's a population, totally different agenda, and prayerfully they will be dealt with. They will be identified and they will be dealt with, so that those who are protesting in a peaceful way, protesting for healing and change, that can occur in this country. It's going to be a journey. It is going to be a journey on multiple levels for each of us individually, economically, just on multiple levels. So it's not going to be an overnight thing. Mind you, we're still in the midst of a pandemic as well. This is going to be a journey, you all. Be patient. We can and we will get through this together, but we've got to come together as a people. I hope it helps somebody. Fit at 60 and beyond. You don't have to be 60 or beyond, but we challenge you to be fit, your mind, body, soul, and spirit. And I hope that this will help some of you to begin to think differently today so that we can move forward and heal. Until then, much love and embrace the journey.